This is the start. Should be very interesting. This is along the High Sierra Trail. Very beautiful, lush, ferns growing, meadows. Really enjoyable walking. This is typical of the Sierras. I turned the corner and can hear water going down the mountain. There we go. Okay, and this is good water. That's the trail. Okay, that looks like the camping spot for tonight. Pretty close to water. This is about 20 feet from my campsite. Well, someone is sharing the camp with me. On the first day of the hike, I found my mind wandering. Today, the scenery is so astonishing. It demands that I give it full attention. In addition, the strenuousness of a hike and the need to be careful does the same. I saw this scat, fancy word for animal poop, and I suspect this is mountain lion. It's not big enough for a bear, and if you look, you can see a bone coming out the top of the bottom, the left side there, and there's a lot of fur also. So someone got swallowed by someone else, and it was probably a small or medium animal. I hope it was a marmot. Often it is difficult to find the trail at places in the Sierras, and fortunately the Park Service has created these cairns, which are just stacked up rocks in a manner that would not occur in nature. Some people call them ducks. I'm around 10,000 feet now. You can see a more typical cairn right there. Destination is up there somewhere. I think it's right to the either the left or the right of that little sharp peak. I'm very impressed with the wildflowers and succulents that grow in these arid parts of high altitude. It's important to know approximately where you're going. This is the trail, and as you can see, it just sort of peters out there. I'm not quite sure where it is. I'll go over in that direction. But I know ultimately that I'm going up and to the left. So when you lose it, you just head in the direction you expected the trail to be, and inevitably you find it again. So this is the recess I looked at hours ago, and it's only a few hundred feet up. I am really tired. I can hardly wait to get up and over and bathe in the river. I really need it. Wow, I made it. That was one really difficult hike. I'm headed down the canyon here. Someone told me about a great camping site with a swimming hole, so I'm going to try to find that. Not uncommon when you're over a rocky area where the trail markers simply consist of rows of rocks to let you know where you're going. This is an absolutely amazing section of trail to be walking through. This is the view from my campsite at Dead Man Canyon. And there's my campsite. Dead Man Canyon. These trees have the most interesting pattern. They've been struck by fire and the lower limbs are dead. But the upper part of the tree is alive and fine. Okay, I'm headed to Avalanche Pass there. Probably going to stop and have dinner. I think I've gone about 26 or 27 miles total. Today's going to be a real low mileage day, which I've earned. I stopped for a little snack, and look who's there. Avalanche Pass, right here. Not very dramatic from the standpoint of a view, but it was a very pretty walk up. So, one should not do this kind of hiking if they don't have a sense of how to find their way. When I got to the top of Avalanche Pass, the way down was not obvious, and I ended up following a drainage. The sad thing is, there were other people's footprints there also. And other people had clearly made the same mistake. The trail actually took off in a very different direction. So, got my bearings, and I'm now on a hunt to find the trail. Okay, so I'm continuing to go down using my GPS to guide me, continuing to get lost, find the trail, lose the trail, but there is a telltale sign that there's a trail around here. In nature, you don't see carefully sawn logs like this. And that's a good indication that someone has cleared the trail. Oh, this looks like it. But you can see, is it on the left? Is it on the right? At least down here, I think it's on the right for a while. I'm going to keep doing the best I can. After coming down Avalanche Pass and getting lost, I ran through all my water. I was very happy to come to this meadow and see this beautiful spring. This is water that I normally drink without filtering. Okay, today was a really good day. Everything seems in order. I got up really early. I was on the trail by 6 o'clock, went up Avalanche Pass, came down to Sphinx Creek, and it's about 4:40 in the afternoon. I've already done laundry, bathed, set up my tarp, which you can see over here, and that's the rest of the campsite. You can see way in the background there the laundry drying, and you can see my solar charger trying to get a little energy in my cell phone, and right over there is the creek. Very, very nice spot. Will lull me to sleep. I did laundry at about 4 o'clock. Figured there'd be enough time for things to dry. Unfortunately, there's a ridge line here that is blocking the sun, so things are only half dry. Having to come up with a solution, I remembered I had my sleeping silk tights, so I put those on. They're really skimpy and don't give a lot of warmth, but with my Patagonia vest as a skirt, it actually is quite comfortable. And that's one of the things you have to do if you're going to be backpacking. You have to be resourceful. If one solution isn't available, come up with another one. Beautiful day. I'm on my way down to Bub's Creek, which is at the bottom there, and then I'll be heading up to East Lake, or as far as I can get. As you can see, this is a highly engineered trail in this portion that's fairly steep. It's amazing how much work went into this, considering that no one went up it yesterday. I didn't have a single person pass me. In some areas, to maintain the trail, it needs to be filled in with these large rocks. These are several years old and have nice smooth edges, well compacted and easy to walk on. The ones coming down from Elizabeth Pass were sharp-edged, rectangular, and pretty uncomfortable. Wow, this is some engineered trail going down here, and it is pretty steep, even with all these switchbacks that have been carved into the mountain. So many great things were accomplished during the Work Progress Administration trying to get us out of the Depression. This is just an example of how you use your poles to preserve your knees. This is the Bub's Creek footbridge, and the water is really running. Okay, came from Roaring River, stayed last night a few miles from here. On my way, as you see that top sign, to at least Junction Meadow. Okay, so this is Bub's Creek. I'm gonna go make some breakfast. This is Ruth and Allison, who were nice enough to share their campsite with me. They had a really adventurous day. Yesterday, a mother bear with 2 small cubs came into their campsite to get grubs, basically to scratch the wood there for grubs, and wouldn't let them back in their campsite. They went over to the bridge, which is right near here, and there was another black bear on the other side of the bridge. To round out their day, the rattlesnake was when?
That was our greeter.
Oh, a coiled rattlesnake greeted them. So we are low enough that there are rattlesnakes here, unlike the higher parts of the Sierras. But they look none the worse for wear. You know, the flies here bite. Okay, afternoon going up Bubbs Creek. It's very humid. There's been a good amount of cloud buildup. That's probably why it's so humid. It's still very hot. This happens often before a thunderstorm. Bubbs Creek. Junction Meadow. This is for controlling stock animals, mules and so forth, and keeping them from roaming into areas that they shouldn't. It's real easy to get through. You just pull the wire at the top and the pole comes out and you put it back when you've gone through. There are multiple of these in Kings Canyon. It's hard to explain in pictures how spectacular this campsite is with these towering ridges above me. Colors are already starting to change from the sun starting to set. This is the view from my sleeping bag in the morning. The texture on these rocks is really quite amazing. Well, it's late morning and I'm having a very hard time leaving this spectacular campsite. I thought I would show you the layout. There's an ample area to set up a tent here. I just slept in my bivy sack. If I stay again tonight, I will put up the tarp because there could be thunderstorms. Doing a little solar charging, lots of seating area, or if you prefer a drying area for washed clothing. Over here, I do not generally make fires, but there's a very ample fire pit for those who do, and people have even provided a supply of firewood. Here is a preparation table, and that's where I actually do the cooking. Wonderful campsite, and the surroundings are equally beautiful. Maybe I should stay and just not go to East Lake and Lake Reflection. This place is pretty great. People talk about how loud the rain is on these types of tarps. It's impressive. This is my view from inside the tent while I was passing time, listening to the rain. Just realized someone might want to know what life in the tarp looks like. So much of the day I've been just hanging out like this, looking at the forest, writing notes, organizing my stuff, thinking. And my whole world, as far as things I might be using, it's just sort of all here. I'm trying to keep it from getting too dirty. Getting ready to cross the creek and go to the other side. I'm at Junction Meadow, East Lake Trail Junction. Spent more than 24 hours here. Absolutely in love with the place. Went through thunderstorms. They were dramatic. Watched the scenery from the comfort of my tarp. Bub's Creek. Well, arriving at Vidette Meadow, that's water coming down the trail. Very lush meadow. Okay, I've been resupplied. Today I'm wearing my very light garments, exposing my man boobs totally to the world. That'll scare off a lot of people, hopefully the bears as well. But much more comfortable. Really feel energized today and ready to do another 180, 200 miles. This is my campsite looking down on East Vidette. Absolutely spectacular. I set up my tent so I can look at this while I go to sleep. Early morning, Charlotte Lake down there, and I'm going up Glen Pass, which is just below that lit up area on the right between those two mountains. Charlotte Lake and looking up. Okay, so this is Glen Pass. That's Doug from Oregon. We've been chatting on the way up. And this is the view. I'm going to have to move up and down a little bit so you can appreciate all of the highlights. Really beautiful green lake down there. Beautiful peaks off in the distance. These passes are really pretty amazing. And
how are you? Good. Oh, let me get out of the way of your... Oh, you're fine.
At this time, those are some tarns down there. Those are just usually snow-fed little ponds, but down there are Ray Lakes.
Pretty good climb, huh? Yeah.
This is Ray Lakes. I thought I was going to move on today, but I saw this campsite and I just couldn't pass this up. It has a swimming area right near it. It looks out at this big rock called Painted Lady, and in that swimming area I stopped a few minutes ago, and in about 5 minutes caught this guy who's going to be my lunch. So I'm going to set up here and have lunch and probably spend the night. We'll see what happens. Look at how beautiful this is. Here, we'll look in the other direction from here. Nice cloud action. I doubt if we're going to get rain today, but it's very beautiful. This is a beautiful morning. It looks like the clouds have cleared. And it'll be a good day for a swim and some fishing. Ray Lake's looking in the other direction. So the hiking trail itself has all sorts of different surfaces. This, I would say, is very nice. It's gravel and rocks, and it's been well compacted. You frequently see these diversions along the side. That doesn't mean that the trails change direction. This is to control water runoff so it doesn't wash away the trail. So you actually climb over these obstacles and keep going. And you see the trail is again the same very nice trail. You can see these gentlemen going down it. Over here is Arrowhead Lake, another pretty lake I'll stop at for a few minutes and have a snack. It's common also that pieces of granite are incorporated into the trail, and sometimes there are steps that are cut away. And here's again one of those water diversions, and this is really nice gravel. That's Fin Dome. This is below Arrowhead Lake. This is the outlet. And this is the trail. Just go across that wood and the trail will continue over there. This one is so used to people, it's bizarre.
That is, it's like not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, he seems docile enough, but...
Okay, this is a campsite on the Woods Creek. I was going to go down to the Woods Creek Bridge, but I saw this campsite and decided it would be a better alternative, much less crowded than the other one. In fact, it's just me. And I'll just show you what's a quick little walk away. Here's where we can get water, and you can hear it already. Isn't that pretty? I love getting up early in the morning. I'm alone on the trail, and you come across a beautiful meadow like this. Okay, current destination is about 1,000 feet down at the bottom of that canyon there where the Woods Creek, and then that's about 8,500 feet, and then I have to climb up to 12,000 feet to another pass. Okay, this should be cool. This is the Woods Creek Bridge. Some people call this the Golden Gate of the Sierras. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's a pretty cool, one person at a time, suspension bridge over the creek. It rocks a little bit, as you can see, but nothing too upsetting. Yeah, a little clickety-clack over the creek. Apparently the old bridges used to get washed away, so this was the solution for it. La da 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 da. It really does bounce a bit and rock back and forth. Whoa! Is that me? Wait, let me get it stabilized. I think that may be me. Okay, cool, made it across. Going up the other fork of Woods Creek. It's just amazing to me how varied the plant life is on this trail. You go from lush things like this to really quite arid exposed alpine North Fork Woods Creek. Steps, rocks. The rocks are filled in to prevent the trail from breaking down. Very common. Often the local rocks become part of the trail. And then that ends a little bit. This is Twin Lakes. I wanted to take a swim, but it's absolutely slippery. The sand and silt, whatever it is, it's just like totally slippery. It otherwise looked inviting. It's 7 p.m. and I am at Pinchot Pass. I've come from way down there. Beautiful shadows from the sun getting ready to set. Very interesting formations on this mountain here. I will be heading down in that direction to Lake Marjorie, which should be an easy 1.5 miles. Okay, it's 7:20 in the morning. I'm in my bivy sack. I'm anxiously waiting for the sun to hit me, which should happen within 4 or 5 minutes. I can feel it's approaching. It was a cool night last night, and unfortunately, coming here late at night resulted in my clothes being damp, and it's not real pleasant putting on wet clothes in the morning when it's probably about 45 degrees. This is a small lake fed by Lake Marjorie, and in the distance you can see what's called Upper Basin. A little further up the South Fork of the Kings River. That's the pass. Trail surface going up Mather Pass. Not the easiest. Looks like it gets better down there. Okay guys, so I just want proof that I was actually up here. This is Mather Pass, named after the first superintendent of Yosemite. Those are the Palisades. I'm going down to Palisade Lakes at the bottom there. There are several over 14,000 foot peaks here. This is a really famous group. And this is the third pass over 12,000 feet in the last 5 days, and it has kicked my 66-year-old butt royally. There he is. I wasn't even looking at him. Okay, this is a pika sunning himself, thinking he was unusual. I typically don't see pikas when I'm hiking. Here are the magnificent Palisades. Looming over Palisade Lakes. Okay, the next part was written, choreographed, and directed by Woody Allen. So yesterday, I got a late start from Lake Marjorie because it was very moist. Had to let everything dry out. And so it started maybe about 10ish or so. I needed desperately to do laundry. Everything was really dirty. And at that point, sun came out, warmed up really quickly. So I put on my hiking shorts, not with my little silk undergarment here, but just my skimpy hiking shorts. And put all my dirty clothes, which was basically all of my clothes. I mean, my 2 extra pairs of socks, my 2 pairs of underwears, my pants, in this bag. The bag was attached to the outside of my pack under these bungee cords, under several bungee cords, and it was tied to this carabiner here. It was available for rapid removal and washing as soon as I found the right place, okay? Well, I went over Mather Pass, another 12,000 foot pass, and came to Palisades Lake, which is beautiful. Met a girl and her mother who showed me this campsite right near theirs. And when I went to unpack, my bag of clothes were completely missing. And at that point, the possibilities were anywhere in the last 8 miles, that it could have fallen off anywhere in the last 8 miles. The prospects at that time to continue the hike, I had my rain gear, I had my down sweater, I just had only one shirt, only one pair of shorts, and my silk bottoms. Would I want to keep hiking with that limited, especially the socks and the need of your feet? So I was feeling pretty discouraged. I have the little satellite communicator device. Let me get that over here. And lots of people carry these now, but they carry the more modern version. Mine depends entirely on use of a phone to download messages. Well, my neighbors had one of these devices, and I said to them, you know, when you go on the trail, if you could send me a message if you happen to see the bag. So of course this morning, the device, being its usual quirky way, this old brick type, would not start. I took the batteries out, replaced it, finally got it to start. It would not pair with my phone. I had to turn off pairing here, I had to reboot my phone, finally got them connected. And lo and behold, a half hour up the trail towards Mather Pass, they had found my bag. And it was sitting on a rock. They put a note there. I was able to download the message by about 7 o'clock this morning, and I ran up the hill as fast as I could and came back, and my bag of clothing, you would not believe how happy these dirty garments were to see their owner with the prospect of getting cleaned. I take it as a very positive omen. It's a beautiful day, and I'm headed towards my next adventure. One last look at the Palisades. You can see Upper Palisade Lake there. I camped above that. And here is Lower Palisade Lake. Very attractive. And in the distance you see peaks. I believe that's in LeConte Canyon, or at least before LeConte Canyon, which will be my next destination. Sometimes you feel like you lose the trail, but then you notice there are these boulders on the side, and that's just giving you an indication of where the trail is. And that continues here, where we're just walking over a granite slab, but they've been nice enough to put these markers on both sides. And this is just before we'll start the famous golden staircase down. But before that, it is worth a look here at what I'm looking at as I go down. Okay, so this is Julian, who's a trail maintenance person, working on a retaining bar, keeping the trail in shape so those of us who absolutely love it can hike here. This is part of the Golden Staircase, which was the last part of the JMT put together, I think, in the 30s. So I'm looking down the Palisade Creek drainage from the Golden Staircase. The Palisade Creek becomes the middle fork of the Kings River, and to the right will be LeConte Canyon. Little stand of wildflowers going down the Golden Staircase. Hard to convey how intense some of these colors are. Palisade Creek. Look at all the rock slide action from this hill here. It's clearly falling apart. Now a little lower in altitude, and there are stands of aspen. Forest is getting more dense. This is part of Deer Meadow. Clearly there was a lightning strike and a fire, and I saw this 6 years ago when I did the hike, and you can see there are small trees starting to pop up all over the place. So here are the Devil's Crags we've been photographing earlier, and now you can barely see them even though we're much closer. And there's a little bit of a smell of smoke in the air, and apparently there's a plume that's been blowing back and forth. A person right near me said that it was worse yesterday. This is why you have to sterilize water. You never know who's going to be in your water and possibly pooping in there. Okay, I need to get some water for filtering. It'd be great if you could get out of there. Yeah, I'm downstream. Yeah, that's good. Okay, keep going. Okay, I'll wait a little while and then I'll get my water. This is my campsite at the middle fork of the Kings River. That's a view from it. grouse meadow. Upper part of the Kings River, Middle Fork. I still have about 1,800 feet to climb up that canyon to get to Muir Pass. Just below Muir Pass, really astonishingly beautiful. As you sweep around, you can see the top of Muir Hut over there. I'll take a picture when I get closer. Okay, this is the famous Muir Hut at the top of Muir Pass. This is an emergency shelter in case of thunderstorms or severe bad weather that would keep someone from going down. This is my campsite at Wanda Lake. There's a cold wind blowing, so I have the tarp set up in storm mode, sort of low. That lets me hunch down to get in, which is just wonderful with my sore knee. There's an austerity to this lake, but there's also a significant peaceful beauty to it. There is some interesting cloud action happening, partially as a result of these fires, which tend to make things brighter and more colorful. This is Wanda Lake, where I camped last night. It's austere but beautiful, alpine lake. The dark mountains there are older volcanic derived metamorphic rock before the granite actually formed in the area. This is the start of the evolution basin region. Very beautiful. From Darwin Bench. On the route to Darwin's Bench, that is Mount Darwin up there. That's the Evolution Basin, and Evolution Lake is on that shelf there. You can't see it right now. This is McGee Canyon. And looking in this direction, these monoliths are magnificent. This down here is Evolution Valley. And I'm almost ready to break into tears with the campsite I am currently at. Take a look at this. Morning McClure Meadow. The sun is just beginning to rise and there is a beautiful mist over the water. Amazing sunrise. The edge of the sun is just touching Mount Darwin over there, and the walls of this canyon are now starting to be illuminated. McClure Meadow. Evolution Creek. Evolution Creek. This is a very pretty descent into Goddard Canyon. Evolution Valley is a hanging valley. It was carved by a glacier that did not move as fast as the deep glacier that carved this canyon. As a result, we have a lot of switchbacks to get down the wall of this canyon. South Fork San Joaquin River. This is my campsite on my last day of this hike by the San Joaquin River. It's a nice site. There is a fireplace, but I didn't make a fire last night. In fact, I haven't made a fire on this trip, but I have taken advantage of other people's fires. And my bear canister over there is open, waiting for the bear, but there's very little food left. At some point in the morning, it's good to be able to lay all your stuff out and let it dry. Most of the moisture is from insensible loss, which means your body just evaporates a certain amount of moisture, and also your breath. And it does tend to dampen things and reduce the amount of insulation. So a little time in the sun really helps. Entering the John Muir Wilderness and leaving Kings Canyon, which was so absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so this is John Ladd, who is doing scientific surveys of long-distance hikers. He's one of the moderators on the JMT Yahoo group, and does a lot of really good research regarding trail and people's response to long-distance hiking. This is the view from my porch at Muir Ranch, and the creek is right out there, and you can cross the creek, and there's a warm lake to swim in. That's the cabin next to me, and this is my cabin, and it's a little bit dark, but I think you can see it has what you need: a bed. There's my bear canister, and most essential place to plug in a wall charger. This is one of the two springs, the one that's about 98 degrees. And it's got a little area where you can sit on a rock and take water from the tub and clean yourself off before going in, very Japanese style. And then the whole thing is very peaceful, beautiful. And this is the view from inside the tub of the meadow and trees. And there's no roof over it, so you have the sky.